Sanamalo, it's Guru Dato with the KRI recipe of the month for June. This month we're featuring Pistachio Paranthas, which are delicious. Yogi Bhajan calls it a very pure food and very, very good tasting. It's got basically two components. There's the stuffing mix, which you blend all the ingredients together. It's all in the newsletter, and it's also this recipe occurs in Foods for Health and Healing. It appears also in Man to Man, and it's in Man to Man mostly because one of the two main benefits of this is that it restores male potency. The pistachios and the ghee and the various recipe ingredients, and it's also very good for arthritis. It helps take care of arthritis, so it's good for joint health. The flour, it's half whole wheat flour, but then the other half is garbanzo and bhajara flour, which is actually millet flour, which I did a little research on that. It's very high in protein, very high in fiber, and it helps to regulate blood sugar, and it's good for weight loss. So it's a flour that actually is gaining in stature. It's becoming more available, and people are starting to use it more often. And then the stuffing ingredients, again, the one thing you have to prepare in advance is the saffron. You soak the saffron overnight, so that's not a big deal. But the rest of the ingredients you mix in a Cuisinart, and it's all raw. So one of the tricks to this recipe is that you have to cook the parantha on a very low flame. They say low to medium, but again, experiment with your stove and how it works. We found that again, in the recipe it says cook it on a dry pan 10 to 15 minutes on one side, then you flip it over. That's where you use the ghee. The ghee is coated on top, and then you don't flip it again. You cook it for another 5 minutes according to the recipe. You need to play with this as per your stove and your elevation, etc. We found that for the first side it was close to 10 minutes, 7 to 10 minutes, and then when we flipped it over it was 3 to 5 minutes. And again, the other tricky part is getting the consistency of the dough. It should be like pizza dough. So you mix all the flours together, and then you add water slowly to create the malleable ball of dough that you can roll out. So you roll it out, you put the stuffing inside, you pinch it up, and you roll it out again, and then you cook it. This is a great meal just with the paranthas and yogurt. Those two things, and maybe some yogi tea. It's delightful. It's great to have friends over and have these. It's good to cook them like right at the table side because they're perfectly delicious when they're fresh right off the grill. So, maybe make a few in advance, and then just be the loyal, serviceful Sevadar cooking the paranthas for your guests. And again, it's challenging to get all the proportions right, but once you master it, it's really fun to do, and I would encourage you to try it, and let us know how it came out for you. And any comments, please go ahead and email our contact on the website. So thank you very much. Satnam. This is making the ball for the parantha. You want to have it about a golf ball size so that you can roll it out to be about 6 inches in diameter. And then over here we've got one cooking, and over here we've got one that's been made. This is rolling it out. It's about a tablespoon or a tablespoon and a half of the filling. Pinch it at the top. And then you roll it back in the flour and roll it out again very carefully. You don't want to squeeze the stuffing out, so you do this carefully until it's, again, about 6 inches and ready to be cooked. This is the part where you turn it over and it's nicely done on the bottom. You turn it over and then you put ghee, roll it all around. If it's solid, if the ghee is solid, make sure that you don't put too much because then it melts and spills off onto the pan. But you want to generously coat with ghee and spread it all the way out to the edges. And then at this point, you don't turn it over again. You cook it on this side for a few more minutes, and then it's finished. So it's just ghee on one side. This, by the way, is a 7-inch, so it's a bit larger. The ones before were 5-inch. So between 5 and 7 is a good diameter.